Hi, and welcome to Coach's Corner, where systems matter and both personal and professional learning and development is beneficial for everyone and essential for some. As always, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the notification bell. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, we're back for part 2 of getting to know Beautiful Minds Brett Zandis, Coach Lizzie 23. We talked about him from ages 0 to 30, so now we'll talk to him from 30 to 50. And we talked about the holistic system and the individual system, and now we're going to bring in the company system.
Yeah.
So you don't need to touch bases on the holistic system or individual system, but if you could touch bases and kind of talk to us a little bit about the company system before we get into it, from 30 to 50.
Yeah, so it starts with preliminary remarks to get started. Say that 3 times fast.
Yeah.
Right? And then it goes into creating a culture of excellence.
Mm-hmm.
Then it goes into design for long-term sustainability.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes the heart of the matter.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next one's kind of interesting words. Assessing certain very important information.
Yep. Okay.
That one needs some work, I think. Since we decided that we're going to start sharing with people,
Yeah.
you really start to be even more thoughtful. And I'm like, that's a little rough on the tongue, but we'll figure it out.
Got it.
But conceptually, it stays the same. And then it goes into moving beyond current best thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, it goes into finishing up in grand fashion.
Got it. And as you can see, I will have these written down so that I don't mispronounce them or forget them.
Yeah, you can go PRTGS
Yeah.
and all the above.
Right.
And I would like to just explain a little bit of each
Yeah.
section or title in this case. So preliminary remarks get started. We start with what we call charting,
Mm-hmm.
which is thoughts, thinking, ideas. It could be new or because it's a cyclical system.
Mm-hmm.
I say like the elevator goes back up the backside and the front side of the
Yeah.
system. But we chart and then we outline and then we do what we call prototype packaging.
Okay.
So that's primarily in the preliminary remarks get started.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there it goes into creating a culture of excellence,
Mm-hmm.
which, is both static
Yeah.
and it's dynamic, so to speak. And not in the terms like you and I would usually say static and dynamic, because static and dynamic would, mean something as the Webster's definition, but in our world it means something different.
Okay.
But to elaborate on that for you, if nothing else,
Yeah.
because you'll be like, that's weird.
Yeah.
It's so in creating a culture of excellence, you have your horizon statement, your mission statement, your vision statement, your tagline, your motto, all this.
Yeah.
That's not going to change.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as creating a culture of excellence, that's ongoing and continuous. So maybe that's a better way to say it. One is ongoing and continuous.
Right.
One happened in the charting, the outlining, and the prototyping, and is now pretty well locked in.
Right.
Now, the standards part of that, what we call setting standards, which is our goals and stuff,
Yeah.
obviously that's going to change every year.
Right.
But the rest of it, if our mission is to level the playing field for youth
Yeah.
in one of our companies, that's not going to change tomorrow or the next day. We want to continue to do that. So does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
And then we go into design for long-term sustainability. And that's really like our library, our cataloged, indexed, whatever. So, that's where our messages stay for what we call blinking or continuous flashing or different things of that nature. Now, each one of those components will have like a marching order and some sort of a library or basement or, different things of that nature.
Got it.
But in the end, that's like the big one where we house all of our stuff, the cloud,
Yeah.
so to speak. And then the heart of the matter is just a do piece.
Mm-hmm.
And so we usually say, hey, here are the orders. Do you need any training
Mm-hmm.
based off of those orders? Or like, no, I've been doing this every day for 17 years.
Yeah.
And then it always ends in what we call the Ricky recording, which are their actionables, their activities that they do. And then they data entry that. And then that goes into the next part, which is the long-winded assessing certain very important information.
Right.
And that's going to be all your data collection.
Mm-hmm.
and then from there you're gonna go into moving beyond current best thinking, which is where you're kind of working with likes and dislikes and celebrations and different things of that nature. And then finishing up in grand fashion is just really making sure that you're really consciously competent about all of these things as they are going down there. And then this side goes back up the elevator, we go back up the charting, it goes back down. And then there's the frontal view where, so the people that are behind the scenes, I call them the muckety mucks, the people that are, CEOs and different things, they get to see behind the vault or the scenes.
Right.
And then everybody else would get to see, what's going on in front of them, so to speak.
Got it.
So that gives you a kind of a baseline of what I call the company system or a business system or an entrepreneurial system.
Right.
And it's a system that's universal. You can plug anything into.
Okay.
A year ago, we plugged in 3 businesses to it just because somebody made me mad. And I go, oh, you think it won't work?
Right.
I go, I'll plug in 3 businesses. You pick the businesses. And they were all profitable within, anywhere from 120 days all the way to 365.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
I didn't want any more businesses, but they ticked me off. So.
Yeah. Got it. So from, as we get started with the ages from 31 to 35.
Yeah.
Is that right? No, 30 to 35.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was right. 31 to 35. We'll start with the holistic system.
Yeah.
With spiritual religious. How was that? Where were you at? During that time.
Yeah. So very strong.
Mm-hmm.
I had, as we had said in a previous video, I think this is a 2-parter, that, my little aide was yippity yap talking. And so I went and mainly was just really studying that Bible to prove him wrong. And that turned into like a full-time gig for me where I really enjoyed it. And so I spent a lot of time in the Bible, praying, witnessing, meeting, church, Sabbath school. I mean, I did a bunch of that kind of stuff.
Got it. Okay. And then moving into family and friends from that age.
Yeah, so with the family and friends, as we kind of talked about in the previous video, it still stays where you have a bunch of friends because you don't have kids.
Yeah.
You have no friends because they have their kids and they're dealing with that, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So I think that pretty much, basically stayed the same. I like to say they're your proximity friends, meaning people you work with.
Right.
So I had a good buddy that I taught PE with, and we were on the tail end of that because I was going in the after school program. But, we coached together. We sat in the PE locker room together. We even did our classes together. We played, we did all that.
Yeah.
And so, I've talked to him one time in 4 years,
Yeah.
So I think there's proximity friends, or what I call that God will put into your life for that time.
Yeah.
And it's a good little fit.
Got it. And then moving into your health physical now from ages 31 to 35.
Yeah, still really good, but it was going to be the start of it going bad because I was busy 8 hours a day running around with the kids, shooting, Then I went in to be the program manager, 223 employees. You're behind a desk for part of that time. So I'd get there early, 6, 7, 8 in the morning, and then you're behind the desk until like 2 when the after school program started. And then from 2 to 6, of course, you're out in the field, coaching, teaching, doing whatever.
Right.
But, you go sit. And so I didn't ever think about it. But sometime within that 5-year period, I went from probably 180, 190 to 210, like that.
Right.
And it didn't really dawn on me. It didn't click. It didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And so I didn't understand it. I'm like, now I look back, go, yeah, you idiot. You weren't running up and down with those kids, 8 periods a day plus after school for the, the coaching.
Right. Gotcha. That's funny. And then when it comes to personal social now for, 31 to 35, still collecting different things like that.
Yeah, collecting and better vacations, making more money and, different things of that nature. But, those two, the hobby stayed with me pretty good.
Okay.
I mean, there was ups and downs with it like anything else, but and then and we weren't big goers, and I'd seen so many things from early on. And my wife, she's more of like stay at home. It's like one of those things like, hey, we're gonna go to Alaska, and it's like you get there and you're like, leading up to it, you're like, yeah. And then you get there and you're like, oh, this is the best decision,
Right.
you know, one of those deals. So we've been doing that off and on for 20 years.
Got it. Okay. And then now you're into a new career material with after school at this time.
Yes, and the tail end of that time frame, like at
31,
35, yeah, I started my first and second, like what I would call legitimate business.
Okay.
And we'll talk more about that, I'm sure, career material. But yeah, that was what was going on there.
Got it. And so now as we move into the individual system.
Yeah.
With your mindset.
Again, height of the market, things are going well. We're trying to build the best after school program in the state and the nation, which I believe we did.
Yeah.
We're a lot of people working together and coming together as one. 223 people is no joke.
Yeah.
And we did some really good things with the youth out in our district and with the adults.
Right.
With both of them.
Got it.
We really were able to do some amazing things with them. And a lot of those people that were paraprofessionals say that 3 times fast. Working with the kids wound up being teachers in our district too.
Okay.
So that was really cool.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I can imagine with 223 youth and how many adults was it?
So,
Or was it 223 adults?
yeah, 223 adult, 10,000 youth
Got it.
at the time.
That you'd have to be pretty organized. How
Very.
was that?
Well, we were on it.
Yeah.
We had systems every which way. We were organized. We knew, it took us a couple of years to figure it out. Like I've told you before, my first day of doing the after school program ever when I was the site director, not the program manager, but I just had one site. I had 300 parents coming through 2 doors and the same 300 going out,
Yeah.
And so you learn, right? And
Right.
so we had it down after about 3 years.
Okay.
I would say after 8 months, we had it down to a pretty good system.
Yeah.
But at the end of 3 years, it was like
Awkward.
this. Yeah. And that's when we started to, after about 3 years, started going out to help other people.
Mm-hmm.
And so other school districts that were running
Oh.
after school programs because it was new to them.
Got it.
And
Okay.
so because we were systemic, the state came in, California Department of Education and different things of that nature came in and said, hey, will you guys start going out and really starting to help others? And so they formed 11 regions and different things.
Okay.
And then my mom, she was like the Michael Jordan of after school programming. And so we would go out and help and systematize and work with and all that.
Got it. And then with the due piece of solution showcase.
Yeah, I mean, there was no rest for the weary, as they say. I mean,
Yeah.
we were working 10, 12 hours a day. We're now starting to travel towards the end of that.
Mm-hmm.
Once when I was 35, I got into, I have bad allergies. So I was going to solve the world's allergy problem. So I bought like $3,500 worth of stuff. And the next day I actually get one of the guys that I fired. That was one of those 223. Kept bothering me. Come check out this opportunity. Come check out this opportunity. All that.
Yeah.
And so that's when I got in the financial services business. So there was a lot of solution showcase, a lot of due piece going.
Got it. Okay. And then with collecting data.
Yeah, same thing. So we were already at the heightened sense of where we were at.
Mm-hmm.
It was very formal, which allowed us to relax and do it more informal.
Yeah.
We had systems hooked to processes hooked to procedures. So it was just free flowing, dude.
Right.
And so when you see some of these great sports teams,
Yeah.
they're systemic.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we were at. We were, for a low budget. I mean, we don't have
Yeah.
millions and billions of dollars like some of these sports teams. We were really on it.
Got it. And then I'm assuming the same thing with thoughtful advancement.
Absolutely. Everything, it just was so systemic all the way down, right? It was like, my first basketball system when I was, started when I was 18 and kind of got perfected when I was 25. I used to tell people from the time we got off the bus till the time we got back on, everything would flow together.
Yeah.
So, my offense, we'd score, would go into my press. My press would fall back into my defense. My defense, rebounding, which would go into my break. Side inbounds went into any one of those 3 things. Underneath inbounds went into that. So everything, all of the schematics, all of the mindset, all of the skills, everything that needed to happen was there. And so when you find something like that,
Yeah.
that you can model after, then the next thing that you do is that much easier because you just plug into it and then you make the slight adaptations that you need to for that.
Right. Got it. And at this point, were you running this system, individual system, sorry, formally, and then also your employees running
Absolutely.
it? They both. So
And the kids.
And the kids. Okay.
Yeah, this was cyclical.
Got it.
So, you know, and of course it would get watered down with
Yeah,
the kids, you
right.
know. Right? Remember when I taught you, you're like,
Yeah.
this is my mindset. I'm like, all right, close enough.
Yeah.
But, you know, you just kept working on those types of things.
Okay.
So I would say that it was getting very formal in my mind
Okay.
and for the after school program.
Right.
But it was less about that we were actually teaching it to both in a very thoughtful, systemic way. So
Okay.
it was there, but it
Right.
wasn't like there.
Got it.
Yeah, it was more informal.
Okay. And then with 31 to 35, had the company system come into play yet, or was that after you created your first business?
Yeah, and I would say, you know, probably it really started to come into play maybe, you know, like 40 to 45.
Okay.
So there were parts of it and pieces of it that we would do.
Right.
Like-
Could you have been smart and intermingled all
Yeah.
your systems?
Yeah, commingle all
There
the
you go.
systems together, interweave them, braid them, weave them together, you know, all that. But, you know, there was no need for a company system because I didn't really have what I call a company system.
Okay.
But we were trying things out in the after school program.
Yeah.
So most people think like schools and school districts are not business, they're business,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you know, everything's big business.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're one of the biggest businesses, right? And so we were doing some things around that and learning from 30 to 35.
Okay.
And then as I was kind of heading out from the after school program and getting into the financial services businesses and my own businesses,
Mm-hmm.
then it became, you know, a lot more intentional and formal. But we had hints of that was starting to spread down, and we knew it worked because, like I tell everybody, you know, like in entrepreneur land or business land
Yeah.
or whatever, when you can go deep, meaning I can touch it,
Yeah.
you could just be great. You could have no system.
Right.
But when you start going wide, if you don't have a system, it's going to fall apart.
Right.
Bad.
Got it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
If you need to contact Brett or Coach, please do so on his social media accounts, email, and or text. You can find that information in the description below. Again, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the notification bell. Thanks, and we hope you enjoyed.
Oh my gosh. I definitely can't feel either butt cheek.